Hello out there, recording from day 3 of our stay-at-home order, or whatever it is. The order that really does actually nothing that wasn't already done before the order was issued. But I think it's just a way for local politicians and now the governor to pretend that they're doing something in the wake of the coronavirus. This is page 3, by the way. Sort of, I'm rendering the second picture. I've already composited the first one, so I'm going to go ahead and pop it in here. I'm kind of recording this one because I just feel like talking, I guess. I don't know. I'll probably like ramble on and kind of fade out as usual by the end once I run out of steam. But it's the idea is this is where I wanted to start the... Ah, shoot. Well, not a problem. This picture's a little wider than I thought it was going to be, so I'm just going to pull it in a little. I can make it wider. That's no problem. We'll just kind of cut it there. Cut. And I went and flattened this before I saved that composite, didn't I? Okay, not a problem. Control C, we will paste as a new layer. There we go. And then delete this one. Select none. And then I'm just going to grab this line and pull it in. This right here is why I have all the extra guidelines. Well, actually, this is sort of partly a holdover from when I was, in the first stories when I was doing 4 rows per page, when I was kind of cutting up the page into quarters. So like the first row would be down to this line, the second one would be down here at the midpoint, and this is the midpoint, and then this would be the mark for the last one. And then all these guidelines were supposed to be different widths. Oh. But yeah, this, where am I? Oh, we've got the picture. This was when I kind of decided to start. This was going to be the original first page showing everybody meeting in the gym, playing catch up to anybody who might not have read the first 2 or 3 parts in a while. But like I said, with this is going to be exposition. I figured I needed something to punch it up, so I sort of did that very weird chase scene. And I was thinking too, because it's, because it was a little confusing, it might have been a little confusing. He sees the thug, and then when he gets there, it's somebody completely different. And I was almost thinking of doing a 3rd page in the apartment. Where they're home from the neighborhood watch, and he kind of discusses sort of his seeing the bad guys everywhere he goes. Is sort of like an explanation to explain that little confusion. But I'm kind of torn because I think it might be better to leave it as is, and sort of have it be a recurring theme and sort of explain it later. My fear is that it sort of gets dropped as other ideas kind of take over, but that's the general idea, is that eventually we're going to see that Corey is seeing the thugs just about everywhere. Maybe not everywhere, but there's almost like a post-traumatic stress thing going on with regards to his the kidnapping, that I think would be and that's sort of like one of those ideas that I never would have thought of interjecting in here to sort of give it a little more depth to the characters if I hadn't have made this change and pushed this scene away from page one. And layer to each size. And one of the things, let me do this. Let me do this first before I go into that thought. Edit. Oh, what am I doing? No, select, invert. Okay, I gotta get back in the train of thought here. Shrink, invert, edit, cut. Merge that down. Paste as the new layer. But what I wanted to do with this panel, with this page, is I sort of wanted to do one establishing wide shot and move on. So I was going to do one full length panel in the top third, showing like a panorama of everybody in the group. But I think logistically, I sort of set this up in a bad place to do that. It, I could do it if I got everybody from behind. Okay. If I get everybody from behind, but a wide shot from everybody's behind isn't exactly picturesque. So then I tried taking out the front, this wall and the doors and everything that was obstructing this, and I got this wide shot. I sort of rendered a test image to see what it would look like. The problem is I have a full wall of mirrors on the opposite wall, and as you can see from the black, it's reflecting the nothingness where the wall is supposed to be. And I don't think there's, I could be wrong, but I don't think there's a way to um, do this in 3Delight, the 3Delight render image, to remove the wall out, to put the wall out of the camera's way, but have it reflect in the mirror. Supposedly, there's a way you can do it with the iRay render image engine, but I'm not using iRay. So I kind of had to scrap the idea for this large panoramic shot of everybody here, and instead broke it up into pieces. So I'm going to do 4 panels. Once I get the 4 panels, then I'll do the text bubble. It's going to go over this. And then once I get that out of the way, we're going to kind of come into him speaking. I think this is... I can never get these two guys straight. These were supposed to just be like background guys in the gym. and, and sort of when I decided it would be nice to have sort of a dedicated cop kind of all showing up all throughout the series, these two, Connors and Grady, were sort of born from these generic characters. The problem is, like, they're still kind of generic in my mind. The names Connor and Grady were kind of generic, so I can never get them straight as to which one is Connors and which one is Grady. And I keep having to go back to Corey's book to figure out which one I called him. And in a couple of these sets, I sort of renamed the characters just to... But yeah, I don't need this, so I'm going to close this. I thought I'd show you that. And we will go file, open his layers. And where are we? Here we go. Da, 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 da. 33. Scale that. Bring him in. And I think we can cut that right. Okay. So I featured everybody in the room, right? Yeah, okay. And the last one will be on my detective here. Oops. And I just noticed I forgot to put him in his professional clothes. I left him in his gym clothes. Oops. So we'll just, since everybody's here lifting, we'll just, in the head canon, if anybody notices him, if anybody calls it out in my head canon, we'll just say he's here to lift like everybody else. Oops, I don't want to bend. I wanted to pull that back. Instead of this being a formal... I could go back and redo those, but... like I said, it's a detail I can explain away in my head canon. If anyone out there says, why wasn't he in his professional clothes when he's doing this? I can just say, well, you know what? He's like everybody else. This isn't formal duty for him. He's off duty for a moment. Actually, we want the camera. And I was sort of like, with each product, with each project, I sort of increasingly feel the need to kind of make them less and less stiff when they stand. Okay, so we will call this one 4. And I think, let's give this one the border first, layer to image size. Cut. I guess to clarify something that's been running through is, I'm not trying to make light of these stay-at-home orders or the coronavirus in general. I think it's like I said in the first one. I think you got to kind of see the humor in it too, but at the same time, not at the same time, but and I'm not in any way trying to downplay sort of the idea of stay at home and try not to go out, minimize your potential exposure to this. Not trying to downplay any of that at all. It's just I think the point is that like now these orders are coming a little too late to be useful, and like at least the ones that are issued here, not nationwide, but not other states, but the one that's been issued here by both the counties and the state have like basically have like I was gonna say have no teeth, but supposedly the cops can go out and cite you for being out. But like the idea is that there's so many exceptions to make the order worthless, and I think that's kind of my point in railing on it. Is in complaining about it is that is that the government is now stepping in and issuing this order when like exactly what they're ordering is already being done. The businesses that it's ordering closed have already been closed, and this is just nothing but it's like just an exercise in appearances, making it look like you're doing something when really you've done nothing. Because it's like other than that, it's I think people have been kind of staying at home on their own. We've seen like restaurants and fast food places close their dining areas largely on their own or on the recommendations that have been out there prior to the formal order, et cetera, et cetera. Certain industries have shut down that have needed to. You kind of see people keeping their distance from each other, not going out when they don't have to. It's it's sort of an example of where you really don't need the government telling you to do something because we've been doing it on our own, or the recommendations have been enough. So that's why I'm complaining. It's not that the order itself is, the idea itself is stupid. It's not that people should be out there living their lives as if nothing's going wrong. I'm not saying that at all. But oh shoot, edit, undo, scale. So we'll put him here because I'm going to use. So ultimately, I'm going to put a big text bubble here in the middle, and then I'm going to have him speaking in this empty space here. So that's why that's sort of why I'm accepting this big empty space right there. I'm sort of off-centering him. Whoops. Okay. I'm just going to go ahead and do the border now. Um, what am I doing? I'm kind of getting a thought. It's like one of those where I'm getting a thought going through my head, and I can't set it aside for a moment to do this. Oh, God. Okay. Um, okay, there we go. Ooh. So like I said, this is going to be one of those where all 4 of my characters. Actually 5, because I think this is going to be the first time we see. I'm going to let Rusty do a bit of narration. So I think in this one, I'm going to have Tyler speaking. We opened with Corey. I'm going to have Tyler, so I got to go back and. Oh my god. And let's condense this a little. So I got to go back and remind myself which background was used to denote Tyler's narration. And we will open as layer. This is it. No. This one? I think it's this one. It's definitely not that one, or that one, or that one. I think it's this one. It doesn't look right. I don't think it was that one. Let's try this again. Actually, it might have been. No, I know it's not that one or that one. See, the idea is if I've already used it, it's generated the preview, so it's going to be one of these that has the little already previewed. And it's in this folder because I've been using my metal textures. It might have been that one. You know what? I'm just going to have to. Oh, shoot. No, I'm not going to. Oh, no, I was going to open it, but I've already merged these down, so it's going to lose. No, maybe not. Hold on. Let me open it and see. Somehow it's retained the name. No, it's layer. Shoot. That is weird. Okay, this just went off the rails. I know you're in here. You know what, let me go find the folder. Maybe it's one for some reason. I'm actually going to sign off here. Let me sign off and I'll figure this out and come back when I know what I'm doing. Okay, that was a bigger pain in the butt than I expected. Problem was it looked a lot different in the preview than it did when I opened it, so once I started opening these files, it looked right once I had it open. I guess is the point. We're going to do the text here, and let's see. Fights sometimes break out. I usually get a lot of chest thumping let's throw another line in. Things get loud, fights break out. Everyone is trying to be the alpha in a room. The alpha of the alphas. Trying to be the alpha of the alphas. Let's see. Than our own egos. Okay, I'm gonna move this. Let's see. Put this up there. Shoot. Okay, so this is white, so we don't bold this. But I'm gonna see if I can. Okay, do that. And white. Okay, that's the pure white. Okay, now we'll resize that. And then we'll just trim it down. Make it a little tighter. Hmm. I feel like I'm gonna see. I'm gonna change my mind and see if I can get it kind of squared onto. What I want to do is kind of narrow this so it's not as close to each other to the two faces. But I think the more I condense this, the weirder it's gonna look. Yeah, I don't like that. Okay, that's. See, this was better. I'm just gonna kind of put it back to what I had it. There we go. Okay, so that was a waste, but oh well. Okay. Select invert, edit, cut. Invert. So, you know what I'm going to do? Let's take this layer, we'll just fill it in. And then layer to image size. Select invert, select grow by 2. Select invert, edit, cut. And then we'll just paste it again. Paste it as a new layer. I'm going to take this one, select none, and color invert. Merge down. And then what I'm going to do is just kind of move it there. Now it doesn't look so bad. And actually, this idea of splitting this crowd into 4 distinct panels might have worked out better than what I had intended. Trying to get them into one long panel, because I don't think this wouldn't have fit now that I look at it. So and like I said, I'm just going to have, this is going to be where I have him cut in with a line. So that's the point of all this space here. And we'll make it sound like, we'll kind of like pretend we're cutting into the middle of. Like I said, now I need Grady, so Connors. Okay. Since we never really did get sort of an update as to whether or not, or how the poor guy was doing after he got shot, this will be the update. He's coming home. He survived the gunshot. Because I don't want the piece to be that maudlin. I know you always kill a main character to raise the stakes or create the drama, but I'm not trying to do that. While I do dark stories at times, I'm not trying to go that dark. We want the characters to survive. Oh shoot! I forgot to control C that one. Oh god. Hmm. Let's see. And while I'm thinking about that, let's save this so we don't lose it should something happen, because every time you get comfortable, something will crash and you'll lose a shitload of work. I'm kind of torn here because I need to. Somebody picking this up might not know that it's Tyler's speech bubble. So I gotta have some indication that anybody who's picking this up first in the series knows that we're now suddenly in Tyler's head. Give him a slight smile since that was good news. Uh, da, da, da. Trying to decide here if I want to do a wide, make this a full length. Where are we? That one. Make this like a full length, and so that I can do like the whole catch up in this one panel, or kind of spread it out and split it onto the next page. Problem is, if I do a wide shot like this, I've got him in the scene. If I put him in the scene, then I'd like to keep him in the scene, which means I'm restricted to this space here. And that'll likely end up pushing it on to the next page anyway. But this might be a good idea. A. And since what I'm doing here is layering the outdoors, I'm going to go ahead and let's see, outdoor and furniture house. I think the problem is the mirrors are going to betray this, but if I put the text bubble here, that'll cover the mirror, and I actually don't have to worry about that. Okay, so open as layers. Whoops, I don't want that with this. Normally with the other parts, I'd have this texture opened in a separate box like I do the word bubbles, so that I can keep coming back and just Control C and Control Ving it, or copy and paste. But because I'm bouncing around from head to head, I don't plan to use these text bubbles, or these text. I don't plan to use individual text boxes as regularly as before, so I think it's going to be less of a pain in the butt not to have so many tabs open and just open it as a layer when I need it. Yeah, with some kidnappings. This guy, Francis, friend. And his brothers. Oh my god. Oh my god, I don't want to go there. Jesus Christ. I'm going to bold this just to see. Um, Trying to decide if I want to. Save. Furniture house, furniture gym comes off. Um, this comes off, and I think I put the apartment into the outdoor. So now I'm going to take. I guess I'll just grab them. Last time I just dumped everybody into a folder. Francis and Tyler, and I put them in the clothes folder instead of the unused people folder because it'll be easier to find them if I don't have to fish through a dozen other characters. So I will call this B. Remember that one. So the idea is how much information do I want to put on this page versus saving the others? It all began with some kidnappings. This guy, Francis, and his girlfriend Kendall were kidnapped. Then they took his huge brother Corey and Brody and his brothers. And while that was going on, another gang was after me, trying to get. Let's see. That's a lot of. But actually, I think that fits. I'm going to throw in, while I'm waiting for that one, I'm going to throw in this one just to see how it spaces. So if I put you there, and bring there. Okay. So this text bubble, this will fit perfectly here. Uh, Oh, I want to take this out. I don't need that. So if I condense this, okay, that works. Let's get the formula that gave me my size. I don't need that. I had. I'm going to unbold this and change the color. And then we will. Oops. Wrong one. Bring you down. There we go. That's the right one. That's good. Select invert. We cut that one. Select none. Now, I think park you up there, bring you down here just for the time being. Okay. Layer to image size. Select invert, grow, whoops, grow. Okay, invert, cut, and then we'll paste it. Um, that down. There we go. Okay, I'm going to delete this because, well, no. This should be open. Let's open B first, so that I don't have to reorganize these layers when I open this one. Oops. Open. There we go. Filter. Blur. Gaussian. And we've been going, I think we went 3. Even though you can't really tell, but oh well. Export as. Discard. And now we will bring it in here. Open as layer. 45. Then for some reason, I'm going to try and get this one perfectly in place. Okay. Oh, I got it the first time. I think this needs to come over maybe like 1 pixel. Yeah, that's good. Okay. Layer to image size. Cut. Invert. Shrink. Invert. Edit. Cut. And select none. Okay. Did what I wanted. So we will merge that down. And actually going into the next page, I think that's enough to establish that we're in his head. And I can actually have, I think, Grady giving us the connections between the stories for anybody who's probably missed it. Let's save. We will flatten that. Export. And this is as PNG. We will just trade that. JPEG. And I don't need that. Let's go here. No, no, you. When you put this much testosterone in a room, you usually get a lot of chest thumping. Things get loud. Fights sometimes break out. Everyone is trying to be the alpha of the alphas. Things aren't usual around here. There is something more important than our own egos. We have another enemy to fight. And Connor should be coming home tomorrow, but it will be a long road before he's back in here throwing the weights around. This all began with some kidnappings. This guy Francis and his girlfriend Kendall were kidnapped. Then they took his huge brother Corey, and Brody and his brothers. While that was going on, another gang was after me, trying to get the formula that gave me my size. Okay, that is page 3. I thank you for tuning in. It's open. And I will see you next time.